Salute is a program for and about men and women who have served our country. Our program includes news about the laws that affect veterans, information on benefits and services, and news from veterans organizations. And now, our host, Bob Peters.
Hello and welcome to Salute. I'm your host, Bob Peters, and with me today is an old friend, George Wanberg, coming back for like the fifth time or something.
Right, yeah.
I don't know.
Glad to be
George,
back,
you came on the show and you talked about the Salutes program
right.
you did with hospice, which
Yes,
is a
correct.
wonderful program,
Yes.
and I salute you for that.
Thank you very much.
And when we did that, you told me about an event that's coming up,
Right.
and you brought an entourage
Yeah, I
today.
sure did. I sure did.
And,
Thank you very much for having us.
Well, I'm glad to have you here, and
Yeah.
along with a Marine veteran, Larry Metz, who's the district state representative for District 32, and I want to welcome you to the show, sir.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate you having us on. Thank you.
And we got to talk about this event that's
Right.
coming up. So who'd like to start? How did it get started?
Yeah.
Larry?
Well, I think if you go back far enough, actually for me, it was probably in 1973. I was a college freshman at the University of Florida. I had just signed the papers to join the Marine Corps Platoon Leaders class, and we had at the campus of the University of Florida a welcome home event for some alumni that had been in the war, the Vietnam War, and they were actually prisoners of war that had been released under the Paris Peace Accords, and they were being welcomed home on our campus. And it was a very ugly scene because a large group of war protesters showed up with a Viet Cong flag, and they were waving the flag at these honorable veterans and calling them names like baby killers and such. And I happened to be there as an interested citizen myself, and in fact the Viet Cong flag was waved in my face, and I pulled it off the flagpole and put it on the ground, and there was a ruckus because of that. But it was just a very bad scene because we're supposed to be honoring and thanking our veterans for their service in the war, and instead the event was marred by the protesters. So that stuck with me. I went in the Marine Corps in 1976, so I was not a Vietnam veteran. I was in the post-Vietnam era, 4 years of active duty and 2 reserve. And all of my reporting seniors in the Marine Corps were Vietnam veterans. All of the staff non-commissioned officers that I served with were Vietnam veterans. So through osmosis, I learned about their experiences in the war and also when they came home, and it was atrocious. The incident that I described where I personally observed it was just scratching the surface. I mean, we had Vietnam veterans come back from the war that as they walked through airports were spat on by citizens of this country. We had Vietnam veterans who were advised and sometimes ordered to remove their uniforms when they came back because if they had their uniforms on in public, they would be victimized by members of our own public. It's an outrage that that ever happened. It's a stain on American history. So when I got elected to my current office in 2010, actually the process of running for that office, I met many Vietnam veterans, and I was starting to ask them, how were you treated when you came home? And uniformly, these stories were told again. And I said, well, if we were to, with the 40th anniversary of the end of the United States involvement in the war coming up on March 30, 2013, and that was at that time 3 years out, I said, but if we could honor the Vietnam veterans finally on that date, would you attend a parade? And every one of them said yes. I'd love to do it, except one who said, no, I'm still too angry from how I was treated. And as I explained the concept of, well, it's better late than never, and I think the country's ready now to embrace Vietnam veterans, this gentleman also said, yes, I would participate. So in 2011 and 2012, I ran bills in the House to actually designate March 30, 2013 as a state holiday and to encourage throughout the state of Florida the opportunity to recognize our Vietnam veterans. We also had a memorial to Congress pass last year. I should mention those 2 bills did not pass because of various issues with them in terms of, I had to try to include a new license plate as well for Vietnam veterans, and that did not work, so because we had a moratorium on license plates. But anyway, although the bills that I sponsored did not pass in either year, in 2012 we did a memorial to the United States Congress asking Congress to take this national and honor Vietnam veterans in 2013. That did pass. I'm not sure what Congress did with that. Excuse me. So in any event, this year, because it was already 2013 by this time, we did pass a resolution in the Florida House of Representatives that I, along with the late Honorable Clay Ford, who passed on March 18th of this year, but he and I, he's listed as a co-sponsor on this resolution that did designate March 30, 2013 as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. And I also sponsored another resolution which passed earlier this week, I should say, on April the 2nd, that calls upon Florida cities, counties, organizations, and officials to take the opportunity, and this is the 40th anniversary year of the end of our involvement in the war, to finally embrace our Vietnam veterans and say to them, finally, thank you and welcome home. And that's what is happening now. This very concept, I know George and a few other folks that are here, I said to them, what do you think about maybe, since I couldn't get this done on the statewide level with my bills, let's at least do it locally. And these fine folks stepped up to the plate and formed a committee called the Vietnam Veterans Recognition Committee of Central Florida. They've run the show since then. They've taken the ball and run with it. I'm so grateful that they saw the opportunity that this presents, and because of that, we're going to have a great event that George is ready to tell you about. Thank you for the opportunity.
I want to thank you for your service, sir, and I want to thank you for the proclamation and getting the ball rolling. And as you said, you turned it over to my friend George here.
They ran with it beautifully.
You have a committee of how many?
Well, we started meeting just to determine whether this is feasible or not, whether we can do it. And we met several times, and then I missed a meeting.
Nice going, George.
And then the next meeting I came to, all of a sudden I'm the chairman of this.
That's it. That's what happens when you miss a meeting.
The bottom line is you don't miss any meetings.
Right.
But we have two great men who you're going to be meeting in a few minutes here that came on the side of us, came beside us for this. And only in America can a lowly Marine corporal be a chair and have two co-chairs, one of which is an Air Force colonel and a naval captain. And but I'll tell you, we just work in unison together, and it's just been fantastic. And things have come together for us. We're going to be doing this in Tavares. Tavares has waived their fees for us, because this is the first time, I think, at least in the state of Florida, that that anybody has ever recognized in a formal basis, a formal way, our Vietnam Marines.
Except for last Saturday in the villages.
Yes. Well,
So you went down to the villages for an event in the villages recently, right?
Yes, they have an event that this is, I think, their third year they've done it. It's at one of their memorial parks in Spanish Springs. I believe that's their first village.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And well over 200 veterans showed up for it. They were from all different years, I mean, World War II and Vietnam, and it was just a marvelous time. But they had well over 200 men and women show up for that, and people are starting to recognize veterans and starting to thank veterans for their service. And the reason why we're able to sit here is because of these people, and it brings tears to your eyes to see some of these people.
And the villages now is population is 100,000.
100,000,
which is like wow,
Yeah.
you know. And they're the Vietnam Veterans Group down there. They do a lot of good stuff.
They do. It's a 3-year-old group, the VVA, Vietnam Veterans Association. They are now the largest chapter in the United States and the fastest growing.
But we need to get back to
Yes,
this
we sure
parade.
will. Exactly
now,
right.
This parade, when it kicks off,
It's on May the 18th. That's Armed Forces Day. It's on a Saturday. And the parade actually starts at 10 a.m. And that will last approximately an hour. And then we go on Main Street in Tavares. It ends up at Wooten Park, where we're going to have approximately an hour and a half ceremony. Again, with a guest speaker who they're going to be talking about when they come in here. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have just a lot of people. And a lot of people right now are signing up for this parade. And we should have probably 20 to 30 groups that are going to be marching.
yeah, give me a little more information. Have you reached out to the legions, the VFWs, the Marine
Yes.
Corps League, et cetera?
Yes, we have, and we're in the process of doing it even more. But a number of them are going to be marching in our group right now.
How about the school system?
School systems, we've reached out to Tavares High School band, which hopefully are going to be there, and there's 2 other bands that are probably going to be there. We're also talking to a lot of the children's groups. There's a group called Converge at the mall, at the Lakeside Mall, and it's a group of teenagers from 13 to 17, and hopefully they're going to be marching. The Boys and Girl Scouts out of Mount Dora are going to be coming and marching as well. So we're reaching out to as many kids as possible. And we not only want them to march, but we also want them to thank veterans along the route. If they're seeing a Vietnam veteran, reach out to them, pull them in, and allow them to march with you, or just thank them for their service. Mm-hmm. So we want to teach them.
Well, so if it's still not too late for a school system or a group
Exactly
or
right.
something, and they can contact you
Yes,
if they want to get into the parade?
Yes, they contact us. They can go on our website, which is www.vvr2013.org. And they can also contact me at my email address, which is gwanberg, that's GWANBERG, @hotmail.com.
Okay, I think we're going to take a little break
Okay,
about
great.
now
Yep.
because we want to talk about the guest speaker, and
That's
I want
great.
you to meet the rest of your entourage.
Good, they're waiting for you.
Yes, they are. We got a colonel and a captain coming
Yep.
on. You know, I'm a little E4 too. You know.
Yeah.
I may
Okay.
need you, George. Stand by.
I know it, okay.
I want to thank you, Mr. Representative from the 32nd District, Mr. Larry Metz. I want to thank you for what you've done. I want to thank you for your service, and I think this is going to be a great thing. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping the community all comes out.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
Well,
we are
Bob,
too.
thank you very much for helping us get the word out. The
Yeah.
most important thing we want to see is the Vietnam veterans themselves show up and receive the recognition of a grateful nation through a Main Street, a parade down Main Street in Tavares, as well as the honor ceremony that we're
right.
going to be having. We want them to turn out and feel welcome to march and to be proud of their service. We're going to thank them for their service. We want the community to come out and do that. Thank
Yeah,
them.
exactly right.
So we just want to
once
drive
again, the
turnout.
parade will kick off at 10,
Right.
and then 12 o'clock is the ceremony.
The ceremony starts
And
approximately
we'll
12.
talk a little bit about that with the other guests in a
Okay.
minute. So I want to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Okay.
With nearly 300 different products that come fresh from Florida, it's easy to combine a few to make a unique meal for your family tonight. Let's start with this winter Florida harvest salad. Crisp cucumber, radish, and sweet peppers make this an amazing first choice. And how about a Florida chicken scallopini with wilted arugula and fresh Florida tomato? To end on a sweet note, how about some fresh Florida strawberries with white and dark chocolate mousse? For these recipes and many more, visit our website.
I'd like to welcome to the show now two co-chairmen of this event that we're going to have to welcome home Vietnam veterans. Mr. Scott Smith, who is U.S. Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel retired.
Colonel. There's a lot
Colonel.
of big more money in Colonel.
Oh, was he a bird colonel too?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oof. Anyway, and Commander, U.S. Navy, retired also. Scott Bushnell, who is a Vietnam veteran. Welcome home, brother. And you guys got involved in this how?
Larry mostly because I worked on Larry's campaign, and he said, "Would you come as a retired colonel, as living through the Vietnam era?" I went on active duty in 1964 and retired after Desert Storm in 1991. Knowing how my peers were treated, knowing I have names on the wall of guys I went to school with, just had to get involved, just had to get in there to help to recognize these guys that really did so much and received so little attention.
Well, I thank you for your service and your dedication to this. And where are you from originally?
I was born in Iowa, raised in Iowa, Minnesota.
You live down here in...
I came here for love from Spangdahlem, Germany. Spangdahlem Air Base. Met my wife over there. She was on business. She lived in Eustis, Florida. Had to get out the map to see where Eustis, Florida was.
And she told you that's where you're going.
That's where I am, and I've been here 21 years.
And Commander, you're originally from, you told me, from New York, right?
Yes, upstate New York, Utica, Rome area, and left there to go to school in 1960 and haven't been back since.
Yeah. Oh, well, you missed the snow? No, I guess not.
Yes, I do, occasionally.
Well, Commander, I'm going to put you both on the spot because I want both of you guys to come back and talk about your careers, but not today because this is about the parade.
Yes.
And understand, Commander, you know the guest speaker that you're going to have?
Yeah, I do. I went to the Naval Academy, class of '64, and our guest speaker is Charlie Plum, who was a POW in Vietnam for 6 years, living in an 8-by-8 foot cell for 6 years.
Wow.
He was shot down on his 75th mission, just 5 days before he was due to rotate back to the States. And as I said, spent 6 years there. He eventually became the chaplain for the POWs in his group. I'm not sure which camp he was in, but quite a guy.
So he's coming in from
California. He lives in California. He is one of the who's who of the National Speakers Association and rated as one of the top 10 speakers in the United States. and has spoken worldwide, over almost 5,000 speeches. So
Wow.
really a very impressive
I
guy.
encourage everybody, especially to bring the young people out
bet.
Right.
and get an education.
Right.
You know, and see. You are in charge of the finances.
Well, both the parade and the finances. I got really lucky. My Air Force background was finances and logistics. So when they said who would run the parade, I said I will. And then I wish I hadn't. But with that said, we've already had applications. We have applications out there. We've invited all the schools, ROTC units in the schools. We've got a commitment from 2 of them already, Umatilla and Eustis, ROTC, that will be participating. And then we're asking that their bands also participate. We've provided this information to Dr. Moxley so that she can give us the support that we need to get the young kids involved. And it's exactly as you say. We want the young kids out there to see where history is and what these people did for them.
Yeah, so how would anybody, contributions? This is where you got, we got to get some contributions, because we know this isn't going to be cheap, right?
Nothing's cheap and nothing's free. So therefore there are costs. And the contribution forms are also on our website, www.vvr.org, vvr2013.org, as well as the applications for the parade. We've got the Vietnam helicopters, guys coming in already. We've got some businesses coming in. So we've got the applications and we're starting to set up the organization of the parade. Very pleased with the way people are supporting us. But the other support that we need is financial. As you say, nothing's free, and we're trying to get people to donate. There's a contribution form also on our website that they can donate. We are a 501c3 organization.
Very important, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Yes, we got to make sure.
Tax deductible.
A tax man, so we got to get that in there. So it is tax deductible. How we get the money in, I don't care if it's $5 or $5,000. We want it all, because we got to get the folks in to support this.
Yeah, and
And it's the payback. I mean,
We want the
payback.
5,000 as well.
yeah, yeah, 5,000 was always better.
It was
than
really
5,
nice,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But I've been amazed. I received a check the other day for $500. I don't even know who this person is, other than giving her a call saying thank you for it. Just out of the blue, here it comes. So we know the word's getting out. And the contribution forms, again, are on the website. If you want to participate in the parade, that's on the website. We will not take anything that's political. And so I want to stress that right up front. This is to recognize the troops that sacrifice for our country so we can be here today.
That's true, because on the battlefield it did not matter whether you're Republican, Democrat,
a
Independent,
bit.
Catholic, Protestant, Jewish, black, white, whatever.
Those
we all
bullets
bled the
still came
same.
flying at you, and they didn't care.
That's right, that's right. So Scott, Commander, I'm going to stop going.
Scott,
yeah, well,
please.
you got any major sponsors, or you're looking for major sponsors?
Well, of course
the city is helping you out, are they not?
I don't know.
Yes, they're doing in-kind for us.
Okay.
And that's a lot of money, by the way. That's not inexpensive. They're bringing police support and, you know, setting up barriers and things like this, and that's what they're doing for us. And again, the city of Tavares is picking up that bill.
I'm not the one to talk about the finances.
No. That's,
We have, the
Sales
largest
guy.
check we received so far has been $1,000. The smallest one I've received so far is $21 cash. And we'll take it all and everything in between and more.
okay, well, listen, I only have a couple minutes left. And I understand I'm saving the best for last.
You are.
The lovely young lady, right?
Yeah, Lou Brown.
Lou is
Lou
our
Brown.
backbone, if I can put it like it. I've been in logistics for many, many years in uniform, and she is a logistics officer. She knows how to get it done.
We're setting a record for the most guests on one show.
Are we now? Well, very good.
And you gentlemen are going to come back,
Yes.
okay? I
Together.
got it on tape now.
You do.
Well,
We'll come
thank
back
you,
together.
Commander. Thank you, Colonel. And we'll be right back. Okay.
Florida offers over 70 different varieties of seafood, so that gives you endless possibilities to create some amazing dishes. First, let's start with these Florida stone crab claws. Their sweet meat goes great with this orange marmalade and horseradish sauce. Or how about these large Gulf shrimp with sweet corn and red pepper and cilantro oil? And you can't go wrong with Florida grouper, especially when it's paired with snap beans and sweet pepper relish. For these Florida seafood recipes and many more, go to freshfromflorida.com.
I'd like to welcome to the show now a young lady named Lou Brown. Louise, but you go by Lou, right?
Right.
You are from Tavares, are you not?
Yes, I am.
And where are you originally from?
Outside of Chicago, Illinois, in the suburbs. We moved down here together in 1997 and have been very happy in Florida ever since. And came down pretty much to take care of elderly relatives, and out of 8, 2 are still living, and I still take care of them.
Wow.
So I stay busy.
Well, I know you do because I talked to your other co-chairmen, and they all praise you. They said you're the mover and the shaker here.
Oh, that's.
So you
I
keep
think that's a
George in line.
compliment.
If you keep George in line, you're doing great. So how did you get involved?
A desire to serve, and a heart for veterans. I have a brother who was a Green Beret during the Vietnam era. He didn't serve in country, but he made me aware a lot of the time of what was going on over there, and I was glad he didn't have to go over, frankly. I lost 2 classmates in Vietnam, and I've never forgotten them. It was a very hard time. I was a young mother at the time and unable to do anything really meaningful for our veterans. So when this opportunity came along to welcome them home and honor them, I was on board immediately wanting to be a part of this. And I've enjoyed it very, very much.
How did you hear about it? I'm interested.
Well, I'm a personal friend of Larry Metz, and
Okay.
I also know Scott Smith. I've known him for several years. So, you know, just talking to people that you know, and Larry presented this idea and the idea of the legislation, and it was just an opportunity for us to do something locally, whether or not the legislation passed. And so we were on board right away with getting a plan together as soon as we could, and having the parade and the welcome home ceremony following.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a tremendous day. And I'm looking
think so.
forward to it very much so.
Good.
But what exactly do you do? You do phone calls? Or
Well, I take a lot of
logistics?
notes.
Take a lot of notes?
And we all participate in discussion, and I think we all have ideas that we have a common interest in, but we may have different perspectives on how they should be implemented. But we work so well together that we get things resolved at every meeting, and we just move forward from that point. And we set a date for another meeting and come up with our agenda, and we work from there. So we've all taken certain aspects of this on as I'll contribute this, or I'll get involved in that, and I'll lead this, and it's all happening. It's just a great group to work with. It really has been.
Sounds like it's all coming together.
It
How
is.
often do you meet?
About every week or 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm almost out of time, but once again, we want to make sure we get the date right.
May 18th,
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock is step off for the parade. We're still looking for entries. And 12 o'clock is the welcome home ceremony in Wooten Park, and the parade will lead to Wooten Park.
Okay, we want to thank the people in Tavares for
Absolutely.
Putting it all
Lauren
help-
Farrell and the
helping
city
out.
of Tavares, Debbie Blaze, they've been wonderful. Yeah.
and people need to contact you. So some organization want to get involved again. We need to give the website out, a phone number, whatever you have.
The website is www.vvr2013.org.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you
for having us all
doing what
on.
you're doing.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you at the parade.
Yes, you will. I'll be
All right.
looking for you.
Okay, time to
Okay.
say goodbye.
Bye.
So to all our veterans out there, our active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time. This is our 4th year at Lakefront TV. We're still looking for guests, and we'd love to have you on. We're proud of what we've done in the past. So give us a call at 352-728-9707 and check us out on the internet at lakefronttv.com. Spread the word and enjoy the show.